As we continue forward with creating our indicator, this is an example of what both trend line would look like. We'll have a down trend line and a up trend line. We can go different ways with this. We can make this array. Uh, we can extend it out and see where it crosses at with just this indicator. But after we create these two, we would do that with the current bars. That's why we are actually, the active bar. That's the reason why we are using price action, because when this point meets these 2 points together, that's when we're going to get in a trade. So that's the purpose why I'm using a price action. And as you can see, if we continue forward, we'll see how it updates with the lows of the fractals. Now, right, let's see if we can put it again. We missed it a little bit. For instance, right here, that is a horizontal bar, and we will change this to make it a down trend line. Really don't want it to be horizontal. We'll create that later on, but for this trend line, we want it to be solely downtrends or uptrends, and that is what we will do here right now. All right, let's go back to our indicator. Let me zoom in for everyone so we can see what is really going on the screen. Okay, this is where we stopped off last time. Um, Hold on one second. My wife has texted me about something, so men, you have to respond to your wives. You know how that would go. All right, now what we will do is inside this if statement, let's go ahead and scroll down one time. We're going to say while upstart is less than up next. Okay, okay. Now, what we are saying here is the upstart, which is right here, and the up next. Okay, if we go back to our chart, this is what we're creating. So this here is going to be up next right here. That is we said that in the previous video right here. We're getting the very last element in the list. Okay, which is going to be up next right here, the very last element in the list. Upstart is going to start with the very first fractal in the list, which is this fractal. Okay, now as we continue, it's going to say as long as this number here is less than this number, which it is, it's going to calculate. As it gets to the very last element of the list, which is what up next, so upstart's going to add one and go to the very next element in the list, which is a fractal, which will be right here. It's going to do the same thing over and over until it creates a trend line, for instance, like this right here, that does not have any candle going under it. Okay, so that's why we said if upstart is less than up next, and if that is true, then we're just gonna set some variables. We'll say up int. We're gonna cut up bar next. Bar start. Let's start with start first. Equals current bar minus the bars dot get bar frac frac upstart dot date. Okay. Well, and let's just do this here for the next one too. Int bar next equals the current bar minus bars dot get bar frac up up next dot date. Okay. Okay. And the only thing we're doing right here is just setting the bars for this side. Remember, in a for loop, we're going to start from the right to left accounting, but in current bar will start left to right. And we are just setting this way because we're eventually going to do a for loop to calculate the trend line and the slope. We're going to have two slopes, a slope here and a slope here, as we've said previously. And that's what we're doing right here. Okay. Now we're going to say still while we're inside the while loop, we will uh, do a for loop. And we're going to say for and I equals up bar next plus one. I is less than up bar start. Then I'm going to say if below of uh, up bar start less than the low up bar next. Right? Now, oh, we have did something wrong here. Current bar does not exist. Okay, we're probably missing the parentheses, I'm guessing. Yep, not in the parentheses, but a curly brace. We're missing one somewhere, which looks like it could be right here. Okay. Now, once again, we're doing a for loop, starting with the bar next with the bar, which is at the far right. And we're just saying if it's less than the bar on the far left. So this is going to be bar 0. And we're moving this way. So we're going to start here with 1. And we're going to count to up bar start. Okay. Then we're going to say if the low of that bar, you know what, we're going to change this to greater than. Let's change this to greater than. And the reason why I'm changing it to greater than is for this reason. If the low of this bar is greater than the low of this bar, which is a downtrend, then we'll simply say up start plus plus, and we're going to break out the for loop. Okay, now we're just going to up starts right here. Remember, that's the first element in the list. This is the last element. If it's not a down, if it's not going to create an up trend line, then we're simply just going to break out. We're going to add 1 to the element, which is going to add 1 to the list. So we're going to start going from 0 to 1. And we're just going to say break, which is going to break out this for loop we have to get back to the while loop. So we can do that. Okay. Now, if that is true, we're going to create another variable. And we're just going to say, I'm just going to call it int bar I, which is this bar right here that it keeps looping through. And we're going to do the same thing again as we did with the up bar start and up bar next. So int bar I equals current bar is set to current bar minus bars dot get bar. We're going to get the time of I. Sorry about that, my headset died. I had to plug it in. So we're going to say this bar right here, what we're doing here. Go back to our chart. The bar, like I said, this bar here, we're just getting this information for this bar. We're just getting what a bar it is, and we'll get what a load is and everything. So we can factor trend lines with it. All right. Let's go back and keep on continuing. Now, once again, how do we determine if a bar is going to break below this trend line? Well, this is where we're going to use this slope formula. Y2 minus Y1 divided by X2 minus X1. So we're going to say that this here will be Y2, this is Y1, this is X2, X1. Then we'll create another slope with this here being Y2 minus Y1, I mean Y2 and X1. I'm sorry, Y2 and X2. Then after we count that, we'll come here and do the same thing. That'd be Y2 and X2. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and create that. We're going to have to make this a double. So, double upslope 1 equals the low of up bar start minus low up bar next. Okay? Divided by um, up bar start minus up bar next. And the same thing, we want to say upslope 2 equals the low. Again, we're going to use the same start place, up bar start minus the low of bar I, which is what we're going to be looping with, is bar I, divided by bar of up bar start minus bar I. Okay, that's going to create our two slopes that we need to determine if the trend line is right or not. Okay, and at that point, we will do one more thing and then we're going to break because the video is getting long. We'll get cut off here. Simply say if upslope 1 is less than upslope 2, start plus plus and break. So if the this slope here is going to break below this slope, add to the upstart again and break out of the for loop and add another to the upstart in the while loop and keep continuing through. We'll see you in the next video.